Awesome.
Great. All right, so I'm going to kick this off. My name's Fiona Leibengut, and I'm going to be your host for today. I have the honor of welcoming you to the APIForce event. Officially, it's the Zurich meetup event, but we've been lucky enough to go virtual today, so we invited as many people as we could so that as many of you could benefit from today. Some small admin things. I think a lot of you have found the chat. There's also a Q&A section of the chat and a DM section of the chat. Feel free to use those as we go through. And we'll take questions at the end of each section. So what I'll do first is introduce you to our presenters. I think you can see all of us on the screen, and you've probably heard us just chatting for the last 15 minutes about all kinds of things. But Amir, if you go to the next slide, you can see also our pictures where we're not moving. So what you've got here is sort of the tiger team of the APIForce community in Zurich. Myself, as presented, my title there is Creative Success Artist. My official title on LinkedIn is Customer Success Manager. But we also have Andreas Oberauter, who is an API artist, Michael Bosniak as an error handler, and Amir Khan, the genius behind all of this, the API activist. You've got all of our email addresses there, so you can reach out to us, but you can also reach out to us on LinkedIn or through the community page. We're very keen to grow this community and get everyone involved as well. We're also very lucky to have a special guest here today. So Raul Jimenez, who is currently the head of the e-commerce and digital integration team at Sika, one of our favorite Swiss customers. And you'll see on the agenda point that he'll be sharing his experience with API-led and how that's really grown within Sika and enabled their organization. So thanks for being here, Raul. Over to the agenda. So we have a few cool topics for you. We're currently going through the welcome and introduction from me. There's also going to be a quick introduction to the community and how that works from Andreas and Michael. And then we'll dig into API trends of this year with Amir for half an hour before we go over to Raul, who's going to tell us about his experience at Sika. Like I said, we'll do questions and answers at the end of each section, so feel free to pop them into either into the general chat or the Q&A section of the chat. If we're running behind, we'll gather all of the questions and note them down and get back to you. But you can also, like I said, reach out to us through any other community channel as well. And then we should be able to wrap up and close for next steps with a nice little buffer of 15 minutes at the end. So I hope you've all got your coffee or your lunch, because we're ready to go. Just before we do that, we want to say thank you to all of you who have taken the time to be here today. I know we wanted to do this in person, and the next one will be in person, so look out for that on the 18th of March. But it's still amazing to see so many of you here today, and we're really, really just blessed to see this breadth. It almost doesn't fit on the slide, but you know, of people who wanted to join us and have a chat about what we're working on and what APIs mean to us. So, like I said, thank you so much for being here today. Over to Andreas and Michael to tell us about the community.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Fiona. So hello, guys. My name is Michael Bosniak. I'm based in Zurich, Switzerland, or AKA the error handler from MuleSofts. Nice to see all of you here. At the moment, I see 61 attendees in our virtual session, which is really nice to see. So what is the goal of our community? What do we want to achieve? So if we go to the next slide, what we aim to do is we want to grow the local community in Switzerland. Okay, so we want to make sure that like-minded people can just get in touch, talk about APIs, trends about APIs, and all the technology behind APIs. And when we say like-minded people, I mean, it doesn't mean that you need to be a tech guy, okay? You can be a salesperson, you can be a manager, an architect. It doesn't really matter. So you can be all kind of a person. So that's why when you want to learn about APIs, just join our community and you will be able to learn about APIs. So we really want to make sure that people can just learn everything about APIs. So that's what we want to achieve with communities. So if we go to the next slide. Andreas, can you maybe take over for a minute?
Yes, sure. So what is the content that we are going to provide
Sorry, first a quick introduction about myself. So my name is Andreas. I'm also based in Zurich, Switzerland, working in MuleSoft, mainly as a developer and architect. So what is the content of our community? So as already said by Fiona and Michael, we are planning to do on-site meetings. So this one was originally planned to be an on-site meeting. We had to postpone it because of Corona. But we're gonna organize the next one, the 18th of March, as you can see here on the slide. And it's gonna be in Zurich. So everybody happy invited to join us. Then what we are going to do, and it already has been done by Amir and my colleagues, is we're going to write blogs and publish different contents about APIs. At the moment, it's going to be mainly on APIForce.dev. So I encourage you to check out our web page. If you want to contribute to the blogs or to the content all about APIs, please feel free to reach out to us and we can make you a creator on this side as well. So we are really happy if people want to share something with the entire community, with the other API enthusiasts. Please feel free to reach out to us. And then, yeah, for sure, we're going to inform you about new events, about emails or newsletters.
Yeah, just one thing again. Sorry. Thank you, Andreas, first of all, for taking over. I have a problem at the moment with really coughing a lot, but now I feel much better. So thank you, first of all, for taking over. Very important, what I wanted to say here in this slide is that using this community, we want to use these three types of channels to communicate with you, okay? So the very first one, it is the most important channel, okay? So we want to organize on-site meetings, okay? So that's once a quarter is the plan, and the next one that will take place is in March 18th, okay? So all of you who have joined today this call, if you can join the next on-site session, which will take place in Zurich, please go to apiforce.dev, go on the event link page, and sign up for the next on-site event, which will take place in Zurich. Also, virtual meetings, very important. We want to continue doing virtual meetups because we have received great feedback from our last meetups last year. And we want to give all of you the opportunity really to join the meetups. If you are not available maybe in Zurich locally, or if you're not even in Switzerland, we want all of you really to join our sessions. Exactly as Andreas already mentioned, we have our blog is already live, so our main website, which is apiforce.dev, and the newsletter is currently in progress, okay? So this is our third channel. In the future, you will soon be able to go on our website and just subscribe for a newsletter so that you are up to date with our latest news related to our blog posts, events, and news related to APIs. Yeah, so I'm handing over again, Andreas, to you to give the community some details about the topics that we want to cover and, of course, our future roadmap of the community.
Yeah, so I'm going to keep this very short. So we are also planning to maybe set up a Slack group. It could be also another technology, just to share the information with you guys, maybe over another tool. We are planning to set up a YouTube channel where we publish the different community content and also a LinkedIn group. But this is still in progress and we will inform you as soon as we have something here. So on the next slide, what's going to be the content of the different meetups that we organize? So we want to make sure that we always have a real world example in one of our meetups. And today it's going to be Raul from Sika, where he's going to present how they implemented APIs and how they are working with APIs. So we always going to have one of a guest speaker in our meetups. And then as you can see here, there are always topics regarding business content, or it could be also very technical. So we are really trying to focus on the entire landscape of APIs. All right, then next slide. So we wanna now connect with you guys and it would be great if you could take your phone and scan this QR code, because we're going to have a few questions to you guys before we really start with the content. And we're going to use this Menti also afterwards. I have some background noises. We're going to use the Menti also afterwards, so it would be great if we could quickly check if it's working or not. All right.
I think we can give 20 more seconds and then we go to the Menti page. Yeah, so you can now grab out your phone, scan it with the camera, and let's go to the Menti platform.
Exactly.
Okay.
So you should be able to see the first question there. Exactly. Maybe switch to the Menti platform, Amir.
Yes. Wow.
All right, we already have. So where are you dialing in from? Yeah, obviously we see quite big Switzerland, because that was the original idea, to have an on-site meeting. What can we see? London, Fiona, you are in London, right? Is it probably you?
Me.
Who is from Colombia? Nice country.
All right, Germany, then all different parts of Switzerland, Wallisellen, Zürich, Spiez, very nice, König, Lausanne, Murten.
I was expecting home office, but it's there. It's but not that big.
Yeah.
Home office.
And yeah, India getting bigger and bigger. A lot of people joining from India as well. Very nice. Okay, so should we go to the next question?
Yes, let's go to the next one.
So what is your role? Are you more developer? Are you an architect? Are you maybe more a project manager? Just to get an idea. India. That was probably the previous question. So a lot of developers and architects, as expected. Integration architects. Students, also students, very nice.
Would be nice to see how many non-tech people we have that have joined the community.
Product owners as well, test automation, Scrum Masters, API security specialists, great. Yeah, but it's quite technical so far. Expected to have more non-technical people, but that's nice. All right. Okay, let's go to the next question, Amir. So which is your preferred drink at work? Tea.
We have a bet going on this as well, right? Oh.
Okay. Water. Very healthy, yeah. That's what I expect, the coffee and water. We have 4 people having Long Island iced tea. I mean, it doesn't have to be Long Island. It can be all other drinks as well.
Hopefully not now.
Yeah, hopefully not now. Well, it's already, it could be beer Friday afternoon.
Yeah.
Coffee, it's gonna win. All right. Okay, now we have, I think, the last question, right, Amir?
I guess so, yeah.
Okay, what are your top 3 favorite tools that you use on a daily basis?
So what do you expect to see here, Andreas? MuleSoft, any point, definitely.
I'm gonna expect to see Microsoft Teams.
I expect Jira, maybe, Jenkins.
Yeah, Jira.
Teams.
Yeah, all the Atlassian tools, Jira, Confluence, used a lot.
Maybe Postman will pop up.
Postman, yeah. Yeah.
Git is there,
working
right?
with it.
Yeah, here we have Postman. Nice.
Yeah.
Good to see
Nice
Slack
to see
as well.
that a lot. Nice to see that a lot of people are using Slack. So Slack is as big as Teams. Salesforce getting bigger. Okay, Jira, you were right, Amir. Jira is.
So Amir,
I
you
think it's
want
also Postman, right? Postman, Teams, Jira. Now Teams is taking over. Yeah. But we forget one important tool. AnyPoint Studio is also there. The color is not always representative.
Yeah.
terminal. Someone is using the terminal, loves to use the terminal. Always nice to see.
One password, Brain. Yeah, that's also a good tool, which we use, the Brain. All right. Okay. Thank you very much, guys. Very interesting. And now gonna hand it over to Amir.
Okay. So I guess we have completed our first backlog item. So now we are going to look into the trends. And for the trends, so basically, as this is a community, we didn't want it to, go for any kind of marketing trends. So we did a lot of research in the last 2 months. What other communities are talking about software development, research, DevOps, as well as a lot of automation forums we have been capturing, and the analyst reports as well. And we came up with also the topics which have been validated and discussed a lot with our prospects and customers. And came up with this trend. So it's nothing official from MuleSoft. We are going to have 12 hot topics for this year related to APIs. And let's see how these are presented. But I forgot my introduction. So my name is Amir Khan. I'm quite new to MuleSoft, 6 months in, working as a solution engineer in Switzerland, and super happy to be part of this meetup and community. And hopefully we can grow this even more locally as well as globally, and share our knowledge and insights with you. So, but before we go into the trends topic, as we have a large audience, we wanted to take the opportunity to do a Menti with you. So while I'm talking, you can maybe scan this QR code and we go to the next Menti. So the goal of this is to really see what we come up with, if this really is matching also with what the people who are in this meetup today sees as well. Yeah, and another additional advantage for us would be to see really what the community is thinking about. We will obviously share the outcomes of this Menti because it's a bit more detailed Menti and survey with you later on, and then we will show you what were the topics we have been seeing where we say, okay, these are the topics which will be critical in 2022, especially when you're driving the digital transformation and APIs are enabling this all your digital journey. So we will look into it, but for now, let's go back into, and I want to participate as well. So I will also scan this QR code for me, so I can also be part of this survey. Okay, so now let's go to the second Menti, and we can see already here that we had some discussions before here so the project setups people are working in today. So what is it? Is it still traditional, or is the transformation towards the agile methodologies becoming more? So the last time I did was, I think, a similar survey 1 year ago. Actually, it was exactly 1 year ago, where traditional was much more utilized by different projects, but it also depends on the community and the people who are joining. But it gives us a good feeling that people who are interested in APIs, they are not really in the traditional way of working. Hybrid is also a hot topic here. You can see that still many companies are in hybrid mode, using both or even a combined approach, and agile is a clear winner here for. I will still stay on this slide, but to allow other people to come as well and vote for this survey. So, Andreas, is this what you were expecting from your experience, or?
Yeah, to be honest, I expected this answer. So HL is going to be for sure with the most votes. What I'm seeing currently on all of my project is that for sure everybody want to be agile. A lot of people are saying they are already agile, but if you are really looking deeper into the methodologies, they are not agile at all, right? So I mean, it's a little bit a buzzword for me, but at the end, it really depends if you are really working in an agile mode or not. But I definitely agree that, yeah, I mean, almost everybody is working in a Scrum methodology with Scrum Masters, but just in like different kind of flavors.
Mm-hmm. And using Jira is not that you are doing agile, right? So Jira is just a tool.
Exactly.
Okay, so now let's jump to the next question, which is also quite interesting. So you should see now the next slide. And here, what we want to know is what are the different API technologies and protocols you are using in your projects and organization. You have 5 selections, so we didn't want it to really limit on one selection. I know many who use multiple protocols and APIs, so looking forward what the answers will be here. So from my point of view, I think REST will be the clear winner. Michael, what do you think here about the protocols? What do you see in your projects?
Yeah, of course, REST. I mean, REST is really, REST API is the protocol that is used almost everywhere today, especially in the digital transformation age. So I expect REST API to win this time. Yeah, let's see. What do we have? SOAP, yes, of course. I mean, SOAP, especially Salesforce, so all the people that have worked with Salesforce, of course, Salesforce supports also REST APIs, but still the main APIs are still using SOAP. SFTP, FTP, of course, yes, also for file management, messaging queues.
Interestingly, that gRPC and GraphQL, I would have really honestly expected much more, but we don't have any so much users using it.
Maxim has suggested OData in the chat.
Oh yes,
Yeah,
OData is missing.
right.
Good
OData.
catch. Yeah. OData.
Yeah.
And event.
It's quite interesting because
no, please go ahead.
Usually, if you speak about the trends, you always hear like GraphQL and gRPC, and I have seen already a lot of presentations about those two topics, but barely somebody is already using it, and it would have been my guess as well. I would even thought that FTP and SFTP is higher, because still a lot of companies are going into the direction of REST APIs, but they still haven't like built everything RESTful, right? There are still always like FTP or SFTP servers doing file transfers.
Awesome. So shall we move to the next one? I think this is more or less done. So this is also important. So how do you manage your APIs today? We have here 3 options. One is API lifecycle management, means you really handle APIs as a product, go through the different phases of a lifecycle with designing, developing, building the application, testing it, and also then deploying and operating and always improving. We can see many people are on this one. API gateway is really making sure that your APIs are accessible. You have the security on top. You can apply different kind of policies. Or API are not managed at all. It's like they are maybe managed as part of the product, but not really something which could be reused. So we can see here a clear winner. I'm surprised. I would have thought that API gateway would be much more than what we have here. Andreas, Michael, what do you think about this?
I mean, I've also expected API gateway in the end, something like, I mean, all these tools that you have today, Google APG, for example, right? It is really a big tool. A lot of people are using MuleSoft API Manager. I was expecting more really that it would be API Gateway, but of course API Lifecycle Management also is definitely okay. And APIs not managed at all. Yeah, 5. Of course,
but this would also reflect, right? This would also reflect what we had in the first slide, that a lot of users are in the Agile project. So I would really expect them to also have a clear lifecycle management process, at least in place. So that's also contributing to this one. So let's move to the next one. How do you implement your APIs today? And here I think I need to explain a bit first. So either it's code first, the traditional way of implementing APIs. You receive a user story, a requirement, then you go and write down, implement the API, establish the connectivity, and make it available. Design first is first prototyping the API. I know that this is a big trend currently in the market, and really surprised to see that so many are already using the design first approach, where you prototype the API first and then enable parallel work streams for UI integration, testing, and so on. Or even the most modern, I think, design test first means you prototype and establish a test-driven approach to development and then build the APIs. So we can see here a clear distinction. So design first is really there. We have users in the community using it. Andy, what do you say about this result, I would say here?
Yeah, I would have expected the same, or I actually expected the same. I mean, it's still interesting to see that 5 are really doing design test first. I know also a lot of people are talking about test-driven approaches. I actually haven't seen a lot of projects really implement and living it at the end. I would really say it depends on the maturity of like the company and how they use APIs, but it's mostly either design first. So you really, I don't know, you create first API specifications. You give it to your clients, to your partners, to your external parties, or you really say, okay, it's going to be code-driven first. We're going to build the APIs and then provide it afterwards. I mean, usually it's the better approach to first design it and then to really implement it.
Yes. Yes, and I think the trend will change once the design first approach is really adopted in a bigger majority. Then also design test first will become important, because quality will be really important if an API experience is given or not.
I think we have a winner, which is coffee first in the chat.
Yeah. I saw it. Maxime has coffee first and then let's design.
Nice.
Yeah, good one.
So let's move to the next one. Where do you deploy your APIs? I think we have 3 options: simple, on-premise, hybrid, or cloud, which could be any cloud. Interesting to see. Hybrid was, I think, that's what we expected, right, Michael?
Yes, I mean, I expected hybrids to be the highest and on-premise the lowest. Of course, now we will see in the next couple of seconds how cloud will end up, but this is what I usually also see with the customers that I am working with. A lot of them currently are really going through this approach or digital transformation where they have their on-premise infrastructure, which is really hard to manage. You need specific skills. It's harder to scale because everything is locally. So you have the benefits if you move to cloud. You can scale easily, for example, on AWS by just configuring. You save money, of course, as well. So it depends also on, of course, what you want to achieve, what your API strategy is. But this is also what I have expected. It depends also on the industry. I think the banks, for example, they do not want sensitive data to be available in the cloud. So they still choose on-premise local infrastructure to store data. So it's also a good approach to have this data locally, but running, for example, APIs, metadata in the cloud, which is the typical deployment strategy, hybrids, on-premise and cloud.
Awesome. So let's go to the next question. I think we are also running a bit out of time. So how do you access requests to APIs? Yeah, so maybe there are different options. You have a dedicated process where you go to the IT teams, operations teams, they will give you access. Maybe documentation somewhere in Confluence. Self-service portal is definitely the one where you say, okay, we have it in place. We made our APIs reusable. Everyone can consume it. We discover it ourselves. So this is really the approach to take for APIs, but also a dedicated process through an IT operations team. What I have expected would be here. In major. So there is different things. Also, people are filling out for documentation in Confluence. And there are a couple of people who never thought about this, so it might not be implemented yet. Andreas, what's your take on this?
Yes, I mean, everybody is going direction of self-service portals, or even like building their own API portals. And what I currently see is that you really get, I don't know, access or the credentials by the ops team or the developers. But yeah, trending in direction of a self-service API portal.
Yes. So that's what we all expected, I think. So now let's go to the last one. And here we just want to know 3 things you want to improve in your current or past project based on the way you worked with API. Maybe you want to increase testing, you want to improve the design process, you want to have implement a different type of protocol. More cheese, definitely. We know that Fiona is also on the call. So what else beside more cheese, salad, hamburgers, maybe döner kebab is also there. So automation is a good one. Yeah. Michael and Andy, I think this goes to both of you. What would you improve if you had the chance from past projects?
That's a really good one. Usually, I really struggle with. I mean, it is best practice when you develop that you also do unit testing. We know how painful it can be. Some people just do not like it, do unit testing really at the end when your API is done. Some even skip unit testing. But this is something that I personally want to improve, really, to make sure that unit testing, you do it early, okay? And that you don't really do it after you have finished your integration, your application, and then you start doing unit testing, which doesn't really make sense. So this is something that I personally would improve.
We can see here direction for CI/CD, which is cool. I think this is what we have also thought about. Automation is big, and I think APIs are really the enabler for automation. We know there are approaches like RPAs and so on, but automation is really one topic which we have seen also in the trends today. And we are seeing more and more being utilized by different ways of adapting technologies. You can see M-unit testing. So one you pointed out, Michael, testing in general, unit testing.
Yeah. The error handling.
Error handling, yeah. Exactly.
What surprises me that governance is very small at the moment. This is one of the topics that I always see on the projects, which is a big challenge. It's like really setting up an API governance within the company, setting principles, integration principles, setting standards. I mean, even going into the direction of naming conventions, because usually you really start like an API project or an integration project without even setting like the entire API governance first. And it's going to get chaotic and messed up in the future if you start to develop even more APIs. But that's something that you always should do in the beginning. Set the base with the principles, with the governance, and then build on top of that.
Exactly. And this is what we also see, set the understanding, the test understanding is that test is quite often here. Yeah? So you should really define the base first before implementing. And in respect of time, I think we are quite behind the schedule. I would now share with you what we actually came up with. I think it's quite similar what we have seen in the survey now. So we have these top 12 topics we came up here. So design first and API as a product, you can see it's there, right? Like API lifecycle management as well. But what we have seen in our research is that design first is gaining popularity. Many organizations are looking to adopt it. Of course, you need to have an API as product mindset in place. And also a lifecycle management in place in order to practice it accordingly. But now with the microservices, the challenge is there when you build microservices and you provide them as a product, so everyone is able to use it. So when you change something to the microservices, you don't know who are the user being impacted by the change. So this is where design first comes in, which allow you to establish a contract with your consumers and really tie your implementation to the consumer driven contracts, and which will give you also, in case of changes, you know exactly who are your consumer consuming your API microservice, and you can scale it better. So API as a product, design first is really big, a big trend we are seeing. And I think, Andy, you can in your projects.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's what we have seen before in the service. So a lot of customers are going direction of design first. Yeah.
Then hyper automation, you can see it's also automation is really something which need to be increased. And the hyper automation, for me, it's really a buzz of last year, which will increase now further. And it is related to other topics here on the list as well. We have the business technologists, a role not really technical, but still looking for innovation, driving innovation, increasing productivity of an org from the line of business perspective. But you also have these no code, low code, which are allowing you to build automation, allowing you to build product and services and embedded and fueled with AI and machine learning. This will be successful. So hyper automation with all these capabilities will be very important and grow in 2022. APIs will be one topic in hyper automation, but also the integration to RPA, UI automation is also something which will be key, because APIs cannot be implemented everywhere. There are some systems which are limited. They don't provide the capabilities, but they offer a UI. So a combination and smart solution bringing both sides, UI capabilities and API capabilities, fueled with no code and AI and ML, will evolve hyper automation. So this is what the market was all about. We have here also kind of security topic with zero trust. So we see a lot that people are moving away from the API gateway approach, which is a perimeter, a traditional perimeter approach, which secures basically everything which is inside the perimeter. And someone who is inside the perimeter, they can have access to all data. So zero trust is coming in to say, okay, now with COVID situation, we are accessing data from everywhere, company data, customer data, partner data, and we need to make sure that this perimeter approach is completely gone. We need to secure each API and each request on its own and validate always who is the requester. And if this validation is passed, then the access will be granted. So security is also one topic, but also, like we have seen this also in our survey with the multi-protocol. REST was winning or was a winner, but we had also so many other protocols with FTP, SOAP, like GraphQL and so on. We had different protocols in place, and here organizations are really looking into the best of breed selection for their way of implementing their projects. So it's not tied to one single protocol. There will be a mix, a good healthy mix, which will provide the best solution for the org. Multi-cloud as well. So multi-cloud is also very popular. And I think, Michael, you have a couple of inputs in regards to multi-cloud, right?
Yeah, it's multi-cloud. I mean, I think it's not just a trend now for this year, 2022, but it has been a trend for the last years, especially now since the pandemic. I mean, it's like it gave the companies, corporations, another impulse really to start their digital transformation journey. since all the customers, I mean, we work from everywhere now. We do these remote sessions. We want to be served from everywhere. I want to go to a Starbucks and I want to have a really nice digital experience. And you as a company, if you go multi-cloud, it's just easier for you to scale, to do these kind of integrations, and especially to get rid of this infrastructure that can be really a bottleneck in your company. So I see multi-cloud definitely will be a trend also for the next couple of years. Especially Google also has now, I think, a data center in Zurich since 2 years. Not sure when it has been released, but yeah, this is also really big. I think we will see big initiatives in the next couple of years.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you, Michael. And I can agree on this. Operational efficiency will something which will be key to drive these multi-cloud transformations. One more important thing here is composable business. Yeah, so we all agree that APIs are fueling digital transformation, but your API has no value if it's not being able to reuse. So whenever building an API, have the reuse and discoverability of an API in mindset, and then you can establish really composable businesses which can be reused by so many different users and communities, which will then help you drive your transformation faster, being more agile and getting the speed to deliver your projects. We wanted to still, and I think, Fiona, we may have 5 minutes more, right?
A little bit of the buffer.
Okay,
so
so
I'll give you 5 minutes.
I go for this joker, so I will use this buffer now, because we said, okay, we are going to identify and present you the trends we are having, but we want to highlight on 3 trends, especially the design first approach. I think this is super important. We have the zero trust we are going to discuss and the composable business. So let's dive into it without any delay. So API design first. So what is the use case for it? I think many of you are using it. They see these values. So, but first, let's take a look at the code first approach. What you have here is a simple release from a very high level, not really going too much into the detail here. We have an API team on the left side and a UI team, and we can see that the API team has planned a couple of services to be implemented during a few sprints, and then the UI team will start. And you can see the API development always start before the UI is being developed, and in between you have either the UI design in the today's development, but majorly you have the UI development idle time, and if something happens in the sprints of implementing APIs, maybe due to any kind of security issues, system unavailability, you need to shift things, shift priority, move the implementation into the next sprint. And this will cause also a delay on the UI implementation side with the code first approach, and you need to move everything to the future sprints, and this will cause a project delay overall. And the way the design first approach is solving it is we have the same implementation. We have an API team working on backlogs, and we have a UI team who will implement the UI. So now, instead of building the API, you will start with prototyping the API, including what data is needed, what is the data structure, services, and involve your consumer. So you get really the chance to prototype the service now, and you can, instead, you are not implementing it. So you shift more to the left side, and once the mocking services and prototypes are available, you can start the discussion with your consumers, go for consumer-driven contracts, find out who are your consumers. So it could be front-end development, could be any kind of third parties, partners, or even the testing teams could be also consumer who could do shift left testing here. So this will allow you to move also from the implementation side of the UI, as you have this prototyping, to the left side, and then you can continue implementing your APIs completely, and you will save really the whole time, also concentrating on other topics like testing it more quality focused, do the parallel work streams for different groups, you will gain here a higher developer experience, higher consumer experience for the APIs, and you will get the right feedback. So all this will be then reusable, yeah, which we want to achieve. When you build an API, the real value lies really in the reusability, and this is what you will achieve with this design first approach. Next on the list is the zero trust. Yeah? So traditional approach, building the high wall and protecting everything inside the castle. This has been there for a while, but with COVID, we have been moved to everywhere. We can access the company data from everywhere, and it's not that easy to implement the API gateway as a wall, because if a hacker comes in, they pass the wall, they have access to everything which you have implemented, all the APIs, and through the APIs, they will gain access to all the confidential data in your backend system. So this is something what we are seeing more and more getting moved from to an approach which goes a bit differently, but follows the principle of never trust, always verify. So you have the principle of the least privileges. Every user is treated in the same way, internally or externally. You have to verify yourself in order to get the data, and here it is super difficult for the hackers to get the information, because they need to hack through all these different APIs and present the data. It will take much more time, so which makes your whole data more secure and compliant. And the last one is composable business, where, as I've been saying it, APIs are there to be reused. And the moment you as an organization can organize that API can be reused not only from one product team, but multiple product team, you can speed up the delivery part, bring in acceleration in and optimization for driving new projects and new digital strategies. API will be really something which need to be built with the community mindset, with the consumer mindset, and allow the discoverability in a place like a marketplace where everyone is able to search for it, and you will be having easier collaboration with other teams, and also the transformation as IT is working today, it will change completely, because the overload, the backbone is going to be released. Now you are bringing in something which is reusable, discoverable. So IT is not anymore the bottleneck. You will transform to something we call Center for Enablement, which will drive then the whole adoption of APIs and provide the composable business for your organization for internal as well as external usage. So how is it with the time, Fiona? Was it in range?
It's acceptable. We do have one question though,
Okay.
and I don't think it'll be an easy one to answer quite quickly. It's in relation to the design first section, which is how can we follow this approach in batch processes? Is it easiest for you to follow up directly with Pranav?
I think it's better to take this offline. I need to understand what this actually means with the batch processes. So maybe you can follow up via email, and then I will respond to it.
Great.
Awesome. So I think we are done.
Well, we're ready for the main event.
Yes.
And he's just put the camera on. Great. So it's over to you, Raul, to tell us how you've experienced this all in real life.
I'm starting presenting now. Can you hear me well?
We can hear you.
Super. How big is my joker? How long is my buffer?
I'll give you 6 minutes.
6
extra.
minutes. All right. So first of all, thank you very much for giving us, Sika, the opportunity to present to the community our experience with MuleSoft. I'm very happy to see some names from current colleagues, former colleagues, current partners, former partners, some friends. So it's a big family, and I hope next time will be in person, right? So for those that don't know Sika, so Sika is a specialty chemical company. So we produce systems and solutions and products for not only construction, also for the motor, the automotive, the industry. So we split our business into 4 streams, 4 target markets. You see, from concrete to roofing, flooring, and as I said, to industry as well. And we closed last year with a very huge achievement, success. So a sales growth increase of 17.1%. This is thanks to the position in the market. So extending to new markets, constructing, building new production sites, acquisitions as well. We had a big acquisition 3 years ago, and we are currently hopefully closing another big one, a very big one, by the end of this year. So with the result from last year, Sika is confirming the target for 2023 on sustainability and profitable growth. So the company is doing pretty well. It's not a new company. We started this journey more than 100 years ago. Mr. Winkler founded the company, and just 1 year after, we were already commercializing Sika products and also offering Sika experts. That was very, very, very important. Since the very beginning, we wanted to help our customer how to apply our products, right? It was actually a few years after when the business really grew and made a huge success was with the Gotthard Tunnel. And you can see by 2022, so 1922, 67 tunnels in the Lucerne region had only waterproofing Sika products. That was also the beginning of international expansion. So we started with Germany, with UK, Italy, and France, and then followed by other countries until today, where we have a presence in more than 100 countries. Very important thing from here is that at the very beginning, as you can see, the strategy was setting up sales offices in a new country, and then the production plants, and so on and so forth. So this has the result is actually a very fragmented, very decentralized business organization. And you will see, on the other hand, we have a quite centralized and strong IT organization. How we do in terms of corporate IT. So we have this, what you call a Sika Information System, is our corporate IT department. We look after IT strategy, group solutions, so all the corporate solutions. You will see on the next slide a few of them. Cybersecurity, IT governance. There is a board governing all of these initiatives, with service managers and also with the regional IT managers. We have more than 120 IT specialists here in Switzerland and also in the nearshore centers, in the hubs, so in Madrid, in Mexico. But we also count with the help of local IT people in the country, so in the more than 100 countries. We may have only one IT manager in Sika Morocco, or a big IT team like in Sika US. So in total, you see more than 240 people. This is the IT community delivering solutions and services to the rest of the Sika companies. We look at after major application platforms, the most strategic innovation projects, and we have big projects like, for example, the migration to cloud of the on-prem applications from our IT ecosystem. These are some of the major or the big softwares, platforms we have in our IT ecosystem. You see the Salesforce. Actually, Salesforce, we have 5 instances, so one per region, and a corporate one acting as a kind of umbrella. Adobe Experience Manager for corporate website, the brand website, so the content management system. And we also leverage SAP for ERP. We use SAP S4 and also SAP Business by Design. It's a kind of light version of our ERP, corporate ERP for small Sika companies, like the example of Sika Morocco, for example. And we have also others like Microsoft, Azure, you see, from Teams to Product Hub, specific for content syndications. These are some of them, so you can also have an idea of how complex the IT ecosystem at Sika is. If we try to map them there in this, visualize them in this map, See, we have the SafeForce North America, SafeForce Latin America, SafeForce EMEA, corporate, APAC. Then we have unique corporate solutions like SIP, all the different flavors of the different models we saw in the previous slide, SIP Hybrids for our B2B e-commerce platform. And then we have quite a lot of regional local applications, local databases, regional databases. These are either from legacy, so legacy systems that at some point in the future we will replace with the corporate systems, or due to acquisitions. Every time you have an acquisition, there is a new IT ecosystem that you need to onboard, you need to migrate to your own, right? So at some point, I mean, there is a quite high transformation in this at this local level as well. So MuleSoft at Sika. So we started 2 years ago. We got the first the subscription in January, and just 2 months after, we set up the team and we started the setup of MuleSoft in our Sika IT network. That was very successfully implemented in less than 2 months. And right after, we started implementing a pilot that was for what we call digital content. Basically, it was a set of APIs to collect content from different sources, aggregate, merge, and then feed that content into another data consuming application. So that was also successfully completed in 2-3 months. And what we did, and it was already said, we took the opportunity at the very beginning to try to do things, or at least document how to do things right. Someone, a former colleague from the attendance, was responsible of writing down the API guidelines. So we put on paper how we Sika Corporate wanted people. People means the ad hoc integrators, how we wanted them to build an API. We also took, and this is actually the gap you see here, we took 4 or 5 months to write down, elaborate the Sika group integration strategy. We wanted to have very clear guidance of in which cases we use MuleSoft and how. So everything was implemented with the key IT stakeholders from the community you saw in the previous slide. And yeah, in February last year, we had everything full to go to implementation phase. You can see here an example of some of the main figures. What we got in 10 months, in less than 10 months actually, we implemented 10 projects, 10 integration projects. And you see with people or with involvement from corporate, regional, local IT, you can have an idea here of complexity of how big they were. But in less than 10 months, we were able to connect 16 applications. Slides you saw with all the logos, 16 of them were integrated in less than 10 months. But the most important thing, and it was also mentioned, is that thanks to this collaboration that we bring and the approach and how we deliver MuleSoft integration platform to the regions and the local teams, we were able to close to 30% reuse. Reuse leverage, what does it mean for us, Sika? It means that for 30% of the cases, we didn't have to create them. So either the API was there, and we could enhance or provide a larger scope, or just use that API as a reference for a new one. Something was already there. And we have this as a very key KPI for 2020 as well, 2022 as well. And we expect to reach at least 50% of reusability by the end of the year. So for 2022, we expect continue enhancing the what you call the Sika MuleSoft integration platform. There are some platform level activities like the migration of the control plane from the Europe to North America. We will have to integrate to other VPNs. So there is still quite a lot of activities at the platform level. We will continue, obviously, at corporate, regional, and local level, implementing new cases, new integration cases. And we have the expectation as well to develop further, launch, but at the end is develop the Sika MIP community. We already have a first step achieved last year. Now we are going to go much more into the community topic this year. Sika community means that you would see in a few slides that virtual space for our people to collaborate, to communicate, and so on. same as this, but in-house in our company. So Sika, remember this, this slide with a map of solutions we have in our IT ecosystem. You know, with this fragmented business organization and decentralized and also decentralized IT organization, we have a strong corporate, a strong centralized IT solutions, but also we have the different regional flavors, the regional setup for APIForce. I cannot see a better solution to deal with that than the API-led connectivity, and MuleSoft is helping us implementing this. So we move from this to that, and there are two main reasons. We are no longer delivering APIForce to Sika, Spain, or whatever other solution we have here to another region. Actually, our business need or has a specific business cases, and these may consist of, or their solution may consist of APIForce plus email automation plus a website plus another thing, thus integration. So we are no longer delivering a technology, a standalone technology. We are delivering solutions that consist of multiple solutions, and therefore we need integration. The other one is that in the past, these regions were operating very, isolated and very no interaction between them. But this is also changing because of reporting, because of different reasons, topics. There is a need to collaborate as well across the region. So again, I cannot imagine a better solution for a belief that this we are implementing is the best for our case at Sika. So what does it mean in Sika MIP MuleSoft integration platform? So it consists obviously of MuleSoft Anypoint platform. On top of, we add, as I said, what we did at the very beginning, integration with the network, Sika network, applying also security and compliance standards and guidelines, monitoring, alerting, the CI/CD pipeline. And on top of that, we complete the offer with governance, operation, maintenance, and sustain, the integration guidelines, the API guidelines. Also, with the help of our external partner, we build reusable assets, templates that can be used by another corporate, regional, local team. We have the corporate APIs. We are the owner responsible for the corporate APIs, so that system API to connect to SAP ERP, or system API to connect to the PIM system and other corporate APIs. So we are responsible for design, build, deploy, maintenance, sustain of those APIs as well. Something very important, because our main objective here is to bring MuleSoft to the regions. We want we are opening the platform to them. We don't want to act as a top-down, as a kind of monolithic team that is from corporate, that is handling every single integration case. That's not the model. That's not the model we believe in, and it's not what we are implementing. We think that still following our business organization and business strategy, we think that a hybrid model where we open the platform, but at the same time we have a very strong governance at the global. We think that that's the best setup, and with the MuleSoft capabilities, we can achieve that as well. So we bring the platform to the regions, to the local teams, but they may not have the resources, so they may just refuse building the application, the integration by themselves. Therefore, we offer the integration as a service solution. As basically we get the needs, the business requirements, and we working with our external partner. We design, build, deploy, deliver the solution to them, and we can do also that with very cost-competitive services. Again, thanks to our external partners. So that you see, we operate, we maintain the platform, also the corporate APIs. We deliver services on top of that, like a kind of professional services to our Sika companies that cannot afford or handle the integration cases by themselves. And also we open the platform so any ad hoc integrator can build an API leveraging existing capabilities. We have seen different regions, fragmented, decentralized business, also regional IT organization. But here we have one MuleSoft, one platform. And in that platform, we have the 4 different business groups you see there with the same environments: global, AMS, Americas, APAC, and EMEA. In the future, we may need to split maybe Americas into two, North America, Latin America, but for the time being, this is the setup we have. What is in one group is visible to the other one, so we encourage and empower that visibility, collaboration, and we can also, again, easily reuse what has been built by one region. The community, we take very, very seriously this topic, especially for 2022. The community is not a Teams channel. Community is not a page in Confluence. Community is not whatever channel. It's not just a channel. We take it like a mindset, and we take it, again, very seriously. We will have forums, we will have onboarding information, platform information, we will increase collaboration, but we also want to get the community as a place where we can, from corporate, get inspiration and understand how demand will come, right? How demand will be generated. So the more we listen to them, we watch what is happening in this community, the better we will be able to anticipate, forecast the integration cases happening or upcoming in the region. For some of them, they may need the help from corporate or not. So yeah, we want this for our community to collaborate, to share, but also for us from corporate to have a better understanding, a better picture of integration in the company. Just to map here and how our CI/CD, or how the definition of meaning that the CI/CD has in our case, that might not be the destination, the ideal process setup we wish. It's the very first version. We will continue evolving that. So you see Bitbucket for code repository and also pipeline for deployment. We also have JFrog Artifactory for artifacts. So again, this is the very first setup. Don't forget, we have 1 year of experience implementing projects, very successful, but still just the very, very, very beginning. There are room for improvement in terms of automation for testing and so on and so forth. So we will continue improving that. Today, we have 3 main flows here. So for new feature, hotfix, rollback, and you can see the number of steps and the number of steps that have been already automated. So 50% of those flows, processes are already automated. And we were actually discussing in-house internally, what should we automate or not? I mean, what does it mean? Or which step candidates are good for automation. So, and we noticed that actually the ones that we are targeting or we have already automated are those that doesn't have any human decision or interaction, right? Like the ones that don't need a local code ready or pull request or UAT testing approval or the release date confirmation and so on and so forth. So the steps that we have already automated are those that don't meet this criteria. That's all. Just I would like to summarize saying that Sika has a very decentralized business organization. We have a very centralized IT organization, which in my opinion is a strength. There are some regional setup, and the case, for example, of Salesforce, and we believe, and we have proof actually already in 1 year, that with MuleSoft and this setup, how we are offering the solution, the platform in an open platform approach is the best fit for our case at Sika.
Thank you.
And I didn't use my joker, Fiona.
You didn't. You've done really, really well on time. I was just going to say thank you so much for not just sharing, but also doing so well on time. And it means that we've got even more time to go through questions. There's nothing that's popped up in the chat yet, but I'll give everyone a chance to type them up or have a think about them. You may get some thanks there. There's already some coming in, but I'll let you read those yourself. While people are thinking of questions, maybe you can share a little bit the enablement and the training of the team. You mentioned the decentralized part of your organization. You've onboarded some ad hoc integrators there. How and what was the duration planning that you had to do that training and enablement?
So we have, let me just come back here to slide. That's one. I didn't refer to that one, but yeah, indeed, we have a program. Maybe in the future will become a kind of internal certification, something more official. But we do have a program with some mix of MuleSoft training materials, MuleSoft training classes, and our internal training materials, the API guidelines, and so on. So we do have a program to onboard an internal, but also an external. Every time that there is a local IT, Sika IT team that has a new partner. Can you hear me well? Okay, you just got a message on a stable connection. So that program has, I would say, maybe it's a 2 months, 3 months duration. Again, as I said, consisting of external trainings with MuleSoft and internal training with us. We will continue training new ad hoc integrators in the future. But yeah, just in the very first year, we got 21 people already trained, certified, I would say.
It's really cool to see those numbers and to be able to see it. So I was going to say black and white, but maybe yellow and white is really cool to see. I have another question.
Please.
They're all coming from me. I know so much about what you're doing anyway, but it's still, I think, some useful stuff that might come up for other people in this room. While you're on there, the Sika integration strategy, I think integration strategy can mean a lot of things for a lot of different companies, and there's different levels of saying, you know, set the strategy of API led or going into detail. So if you can just elaborate very high level, what kind of components went into this strategy?
Do you mean with integration platform as we have in the company and so on?
Yeah. So, I mean, as MuleSoft, we of course advise customers to have an integration strategy, but it'll look different everywhere, not just from what the strategy is itself, but what kind of components are considered and how it gets approved and the visibility of that. So maybe just a bit of the process and the components that you consider for your strategy.
Yeah. So I have to say that, first of all, the strategy was met now, well, 1 year ago, 1.5 years ago. We elaborated that strategy with, let's say, the knowledge we had at that time, right? Knowledge in terms of integration cases. Just this week, for example, we were discussing a case considered in the elaboration of this integration strategy. So it's a document that we will have to review every year or very, very frequently. It was good at that time, but we are just noticing, for example, just to give an example, IoT, it doesn't have any presence. It's not in this integration strategy, or any integration need due to IoT is not there. And the case we saw this week either, and it was something quite obvious, but yeah, it was not considered. So what we have in the integration strategy is, as said, we wanted to put on paper in which cases we use MuleSoft. And for that, we elaborated, I think, 6-7 reference architectures on how MuleSoft will be used, will be fitting in these architectures. We can say the MuleSoft is the integration platform for SafeForce, is the entry and exit point for SafeForce and this complex SafeForce ecosystem we have, but also for all the other digital solutions like Adobe, like a PIM system, the PIM platform. We have actually 3-4 different content data sources, unique sources, and also to expose data to external customers. Like could be feeding from our PIM system to the PIM system of a customer. This is something we are exploring, feeding our product content directly in their PIM system. What is not considered on MuleSoft, what is excluded, I will say, is the EDI part.
Thank you. We actually do have a question now in the chat. So Alexander says, thanks for the great presentation. And he has a question on architecture/deployment. MuleSoft Anypoint platform is deployed as runtime in Sika IT system. So is Sika not using MuleSoft Cloud?
It's using MuleSoft Cloud only. Yeah.
I hope that answers your question.
Great. Do we
and
have?
As I said, we are migrating the control plane from Europe to US. with a vision of in the future deploying runtimes and in other regions, for example.
Yeah. We actually have another customer on the call who's just been through that in the opposite direction. I might have some insight on that. But then I would ask maybe one more question, just from me, is about the business impact. You know, there's one story that I really like from Sika that demonstrates how the reuse and the speed of using APIs really is visible to the business. So if that's maybe something you're willing to share.
This is absolutely visible for the business, because business sees time to market. And we have proved the last time was just a few weeks ago that in a few weeks we can design, build, deploy an integration. And that's something that in the past was months and in some cases years, believe me, years. So definitely the business is seeing the benefits of the platform. Definitely, I would say maybe that where we have a challenge is still educating our IT community, educating on thinking, integration platform first. Some of still key IT managers or IT stakeholders are thinking of point-to-point on a point-to-point integration mindset, if I may, you see. So, but with the business, definitely they see that we commit and we make it happen. In just a few weeks, we can have an integration up and running.
It is a big mindset shift, and that all comes with the enablement work that you're doing, all of the training, and just continuing to show the good work. There is one more question, which we're not sure if it's a Sika specific one or a general MuleSoft question, but I'm going to ask you anyway. Do you have a dashboard as part of architecture for monitoring the integrations?
Let's say in terms of dashboarding, we are not doing very well at the moment, but it's one of the points we have. We have, I think it was not in the map, we have Elastic now, and we are setting up a new approach for monitoring, reporting, dashboarding.
Good. In that case, I think we'll wrap it up. If there are any other further questions, feel free to reach out to us or to Raul. But I'd like to say huge thank you to you, Raul, for taking the time, not just in presenting today, but to prepare it and to go through all of the materials. We really appreciate it. And I think this is so much more meaningful for people to hear than us talking about what we do all day. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Raul.
Thank
we'll
you.
move into the wrap up.
Awesome.
Great job, Raul.
Okay, let me share again. So
We've done super well on time. So we have one more to do on the backlog, which is to wrap up, close, and next steps. If there are any other further questions, like I said, reach out to us. But I think the biggest thing we're looking forward to now is the next meetup event. APIForce will come live to Zurich on the 18th of March. Many of you will already be registered, but just to make sure that you are, double check. And we've put it back on the backlog on the next slide for you to register for that. I think how it works is everyone will have access to the recording. Either we will send it or share it with the community in some other way. But we'll be able to share all of that so that you can watch it over and over again.
yes, thanks a lot. I have a question, Fiona, but I think it's more for Andy and Michael. The on-site event on the 18th of March, we will prepare an agenda and so on. Will there be topics we will be streaming online, or is it a completely on-site event?
That's actually a good question. I mean, it depends, I think, also on the kind of feedback of the community. We can do maybe this kind of hybrid approach that we do it on site, but additionally, we stream the events. It's something that we can decide what makes sense, but I think it is definitely possible that we do the on-site event, and additionally, we really stream it for people that cannot join locally, of course.
I think essentially we'll do our best to involve everyone in the community. We've had a lot of people join today that aren't based in Zurich, but if we are not able to make it work, there are meetups across the globe where you can actually join, maybe a local one as well. and maybe spend all day, every day, just listening into meetups.
Awesome.
Then we'll leave it with this. We say thank you again. It's been an hour and a half of your day that you've spent with us today. So again, we do appreciate it. And it's just amazing to see how many people are getting excited about APIs in Switzerland. Thank you so much.
Thank you also from my side. Really appreciate that you could join, and it was an awesome interaction.
And thanks, Fiona, for the great moderation.
Yeah, thank you.
You're so welcome.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Have a
Have a
good day.
nice-
Bye-bye all.
Bye.
All right, bye guys.